And, of course, I'm thanking the JLP crew for a great Jesse Lee Peterson show. Jesse Lee, Nick, and Chris. Very cool. And now it's the Hake Report, guys. 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time here in Los Angeles. Hake, better grow that beard back. It's Friday, January 7th, 2022 AD, Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. I have a fun, loosey-goosey Friday show for you. We're going to talk a little bit about the January 6th melodrama and some sensible, sane conversation about it. I have an announcement for you. And, of course, some mess. Throwing back to the Black Lives Matter mess and what the rhinos are, including so-called conservatives, Texas conservatives, no less. Shameful. Greg Abbott, Ted Cruz, and other mess, guys. And pray, by the way, for Ahmaud Arbery's quote-unquote killers sentenced today. Maybe they have been already, or maybe they will be. Some judge is going to decide whether they have life without the possibility of parole or life with the possibility of parole after 30 years, is what I understand it to be. Excuse me, I cracked. I'm growing. But anyway, guys, let's get right on with the show!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Hey guys, we're going to be talking about the non-Christian attack on the Christian nation of America. It's been a long-running attack, and we're not going to stand for it. You can call in 888-775-3773.
The Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, how are you guys doing? I am fine. Let me get right off with a nice little announcement. Ted Cruz is on my mind, but I will be on and I meant to mention this yesterday, I will be on the Hippy Dippy Roundtable once again. Yeah, it's a 3.5-hour ordeal with probably like 7 other people. DylanBurns1776 tweeted. Dylan Burns being a young man who is a liberal from like the East Coast. He hosts the Hippy Dippy Roundtable on DylanBurnsTV, DylanBurnsTV on Twitch. And so I will be on that once again. I was on it like a month ago or so. After I appeared on Modern Day Debate, they invited me on. And I talked about the Kyle, Jack Bauer, John Wick Rittenhouse. I think I talked about abortion or free speech or something. Some other different topics, right? Well, this week, I am on the Hippy Dippy Roundtable once again, talking about the January 6th, 1 year later. How should we see it? Whatever questions that they ask, right? And Biden's Sleazy Joe's first year in office, which he's wrapping up on I guess the 20th was his first day, right? The 20th of January of 2021 was his first day, right? That's when he was inaugurated. Affirmative action president. And Marjorie Greene's Twitter ban. Should she have been banned from Twitter? I say yes, because Twitter is evil. They're supposed to ban the decent people, the people who are trying to put the truth out there, right? They are not for what's right. So yeah, they're supposed to ban her. They are evil. I'm going to be on there with the omni-liberals friend. I think that means Destiny. I'm going to be on there with Destiny. Stephen Bunnell. He's been on the Jesse Lee Peterson show and The Fallen State. I'm going to be on there with Lecture Fan, who is either the Christian or the cusser. I think it's the Christian guy, Lecture Fan. He's like a lawyer type of a guy. And Punished Mother, Marquise Paradigm, conservative TikTok star, Real Cam Higby, T-Jump, and a surprise guest. Cool, huh? How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plus, of course, the 9th person on the screen will be the host, Dylan Burns. Cool, huh? So, twitch.tv/DylanBurnsTV. I'll put it up on my website. It's not there now, but I'll put up the announcement, assuming my website works correctly and all that stuff. TheHakeReport.com. I'll put an announcement up at the top and in my appearances section. And then next week, by the way, just so you know, I'm scheduled to be over in Dallas, Texas. Cool, huh? Dallas, Texas, modern day debate. Invited me over to debate over in Dallas, Texas about something on Sunday, next Sunday. But make sure you catch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. I'm not sure exactly when my debate's going to be. It'll be a whirlwind trip, so maybe I'll see some of you guys over there. Gonna fly out on Saturday, like afternoon or something, and then fly back Sunday night, hopefully, so maybe I can still do my show on Monday. Cool, huh? Wow. Anyway, before I get to calls, let me tell you about this January 6th, not to be confused with the Epiphany, the real holiday, right? Little Christmas, old Christmas. No, January 6th, the mostly peaceful Capitol protest. I read this to you guys in Hake News. Twitter, the far-left propaganda publisher Twitter, they keep you on a short leash and sometimes ban you if you're too honest, too truthful at the wrong time with the wrong people. They put out this little headline, and they called it trending. There is no credible evidence that the federal government was involved in planning the January 6th, 2021 insurrection. And they literally call it an insurrection. This is supposed to be a fact check. Fact, it was not an insurrection. That's the truth. And that's according to Twitter. I saw on Reddit somebody said, ooh, that one guy had zip ties. Zip ties are for kidnapping people. Make no mistake, it was not a riot, it was a failed coup. What a joke, right? What a mess. When you look at arrest records, by the way, no feds were arrested. That's where they get this fact check. Among other things, right? They're basically using circular arguments. Circular arguments is when you refer to the same liar to tell the truth about what happened, right? The feds, the federal people, bunch of liberals. Primarily, it was purported Trump supporters who were arrested and charged with what? Insurrection? No. Trespassing. Parading. Parading is a literal charge. Any mention of Ray Epps? I have actually a screenshot because I searched for Epps in their little J6 fact check thing, and I found no results. Ray Epps, or just Epps, no results. But they still, at the bottom of this Twitter fact check thread, it said, "You're up to date." Okay, I'm up to date. Ray Epps not relevant, and Ray Epps, I don't know. He's not the only one. There was footage of a guy who was cutting down like fencing, right, and barricade stuff. Was he ever found or charged? And they pretended to be looking for the guy who was planting bombs. I say pretended because I didn't really hear anything about it. And then all of a sudden now they're like asking for help or something. I don't know. I'm really not even truly that interested in the January 6th mess because it was, when you look at what actually happened, it was pretty inconsequential. They're making consequences about it because they're scamming the people and clamping down on people's rights. It's a bunch of fake propaganda, just like what happened with the Charlottesville stuff. Ridiculous, huh? And here's another fact check from factcheck.org. There's no evidence that unindicted co-conspirators mentioned in the federal indictments related to the January 6th attack are undercover FBI agents or informants, as conservative outlets have claimed or suggested. So they do like little overly, what do you want to call it? Overly specific stuff to ignore and not truly investigate stuff. It's what I noticed. And there's a second fact check that was surprising to me. There is no evidence that Trump requested 10,000 National Guard troops to secure the Capitol or consult. There's PolitiFact. False. To consult or consulted Pelosi ahead of the January 6th insurrection. There's that word again. I thought the Twitter is supposed to be a fact checker. It was not an insurrection. Pelosi's spokesman said she immediately signaled her support for the deployment of National Guard when she was presented with that recommendation on the afternoon of January 6th, after all of the damage is being done already, right? The afternoon, excuse me? Plan ahead. Trump was right. They said, oh, Trump made an offhand comment based on his overinflated estimate of his ability to draw a crowd. Excuse me, he drew quite a crowd. Some people, I've heard an estimate of 100,000 people. I don't know if that's an accurate estimate, but 100,000 people in D.C. protesting the shenanigans. Hey, how are you not interested in January 6th yet you talk about it so often? I'm not saying I'm not interested in it. I'm not interested in looking into how much they're investigating it. Because I know already that they're not really investigating it. Otherwise, they wouldn't still be calling it an insurrection. That's what I mean by I'm not interested in the bunch of details. And Malkuth does like the J6 News. Nice. Isn't that interesting? I saw this tweet, this J6 drama tweet from Michael Tracy. Members of Congress really did yet another televised group therapy session to discuss how they are bonded together by trauma. Tears were shed. The journalist conducting the quasi-interview also jumped in to reveal what the hardest part of the healing process has been for her. And he points out Representative Dean Phillips, a Democrat from Minnesota, who's in this group thing. And it looks so phony. You saw some of it and heard some of this melodrama on the Jason Lee Peterson show, the show before mine. I'm on his network. The journalist conducting the interview also interviewed Representative Dean Phillips, who is in this little group thing, and they look so forlorn and phony, and it's like dim lighting. He kept the gas mask that he was given that fateful day as an eternal reminder of the emotional scars or something. And back in February of last year, this Dean Phillips guy, a male Democrat, embarrassing, is tearfully apologizing, according to Michael Tracy, to Cortez, AOC, for previously failing to recognize his privilege. That's the business of the House of Representatives. Shameful. Ridiculous. I'm going to play some real news on the other side of on the truth side. The not exactly mainstream, although Tucker Carlson is forcing it into the mainstream. Thank you. Appreciate it. And others are. Shout out, by the way, to that guy who was accused of, never mind, I won't even mention that. But shout out to some of the congressmen who are at least trying to stand up for the truth a little bit. I'll get to that. Tucker confronted Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz, I played a clip for you yesterday. I may play that clip again. Would you pull that clip from yesterday of Ted Cruz? I'll play that after I get to a call or two, guys. But he called it a terrorist attack. Such a rhino. But anyway, let me first. It is 15 after, a little bit more than 15 after. Yeah, what a loser, apologizing to Cortez. By the way, I will get to your super chats too. There was one left over from Asmodor yesterday talking about refusing the vax. Some people and they have that right. And honestly, it may be wise to refuse it. But anyway, let me get to Cassandra in Arizona. She's on the line. Haven't heard from Cassandra in a little while. How are you doing, Cassandra?
Good, how are you?
Fine. Nice to hear from you. Happy New Year.
Nice to hear from you, too. Happy New Year.
Thank you. So what's up?
I just started homeschooling a few days ago.
Nice.
This is my third day, and I wanted to ask you some questions about what your experience was.
Okay, I was homeschooled when I was 8 in 3rd grade, and then again when I was 11 in 6th grade. It was, the idea for 3rd grade was my parents were like, you're not getting to spend a lot of time with your dad, so let's keep you homeschooled, you and your brother homeschooled, one of my brothers, so that you can spend more time with your dad. I'm like, okay, sure, sounds fun. And so I was homeschooled that year, alongside my brother, who was in 6th grade. I was in 3rd. And then again, I was homeschooled in 6th grade because, well, from what I understand, my parents didn't really like or trust any of the possible 6th grade teachers. So 6th grade was a little tougher. I was by myself, which was fine. But I came into 7th grade, and I knew some of my friends, but a whole bunch of bad kids from the other schools were coming in from the poor area, meaning bad kids. And so 7th grade was kind of a shock for me. But it might have been a shock anyway, who knows. So what were your questions for me for how old are you, if you don't mind my asking?
Oh, I'm 11.
Okay. Wow. 6th grade then, or what?
Oh, I'm going into 7th grade this year.
Wow. Very precocious. That means smart for your age, in case you didn't know. What's your question for me, or questions?
I wanted to ask what was the thing you liked best about homeschooling?
Okay. I liked the freedom to finish my work as quickly as I wanted to. Sometimes I wasn't very quick and disciplined, so it was like, oh man, I've been putting it off, now this is a headache. But I did like the freedom to do that. I remember, I don't know how much I liked this, but I remember running every day with my dad in both of those grades, seemingly, especially 6th grade, I think. Had to run like 2 or 3 miles every morning, get waking up in the morning and go on a run. And that was kind of like part of, or the start of my school day. And it was kind of a, I don't know, I had mixed feelings about that. So I think the freedom was what I liked the best, although I did end up missing my friends.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now. I kind of miss my friends.
You've started already?
Yep.
Do you have a way to, do your parents let you keep in touch with your friends? Or play outside or anything?
I do have 2 of their phone numbers, but
Yeah.
I haven't been talking to them lately.
Oh, okay. But you could if you want to?
Yep.
Nice. Are you able to do work and learn on your own?
Yes.
Are both of your parents teaching you, or one of them teaching you, or is it somebody else?
Mom's teaching me.
Okay. All right. I will share with you, should I share this? I did notice you don't seem like you would end up socially unfit, but I have noticed, at least in the early days of homeschooling, if it was early days, that there were some kids who ended up more awkward. But I don't think that'll happen with you, because you already seem decently well adjusted, not shy, for example, and all that stuff. I don't know if you've seen that, but there was an opinion by some guy on the internet, a person on the internet whom I generally respect. He said, man, I don't want to say that. He said something negative about mothers who homeschool their children, but That's cool. I respect your parents. Both of your parents are for this?
My dad knows about it and has been asking me stuff, but it's mostly my mom who does all the stuff.
Okay.
And I'm on this online learning thing. I think it's called K-12 AZM school or something, or I forgot what it was called.
That's the name of the program or something?
Yeah, it's the name of the program.
Yeah.
And Mom has been checking my days that I'm absent or not, and she's been helping me with a lot of that stuff.
Oh, okay. Because some days, like, you may be out sick or something?
Yeah.
Or you take a day off or whatever to do a field trip?
Yeah.
I did field trips when I was there. I did a field trip to Tennessee one time. I did a field trip to New Jersey and a little bit New York one time. That was pretty fun. I don't know how easy travel would be nowadays because of the communist shutdowns, what I call communist shutdowns, because of overreaction to the virus. But yeah, there's a lot of cool opportunities with homeschool. And honestly, I did get kind of ahead of my fellow students, my classmates. When I came back, I had seemingly learned more than they had. Because, they slow down or they do different things and stuff that doesn't really matter. But that's cool. It can be kind of dangerous because there are people whom I consider wolves in sheep's clothing in the regular school. There are people who act like they care, whether they're teachers or fellow students or
yeah, I have met
staff.
a few of those.
You have seen that?
Yeah.
So people will pretend to be your friend. They'll ask personal questions. One thing I advise is keep like personal issues to yourself. I advise that for pretty much everybody because people are not your friends. They're not to be trusted, and they'll use this stuff against you, even sometimes pretending to be for you. So it is an evil world out there, and it's shocking the things that some people do. So, and it's shocking because in some cases people think that they're doing the right thing, misguided. So, even when they're doing something that's bad for you, what a mess. So, yeah, but and same thing with parents too. Sometimes they may make a mistake. Don't hold it against them. Nice. It's good to hear from you, Cassandra. Long time. Well, not that long, but it's been a little while.
Yeah, I haven't been calling in lately.
No problem. You exercising too?
Yep.
Good. You getting sunshine?
Yeah, every day at 1:40 I go to the park.
Nice. That's a good schedule. And hopefully learning some real history as opposed to propaganda history, because, I mean, I just mentioned the personal things that evil, that well-meaning but brainwashed people can do to harm kids, but there's also the brainwashing aspect, the propaganda that is pushed on children. Do you still believe racism exists, or do you think that you're not sure, or do you think it doesn't exist?
I don't think it really exists.
Nice. Are you white or mixed, Hispanic, or?
Mixed.
No, okay, cool. Well, I wish you well, Cassandra. Let me know how it goes. Feel free to check in with me anytime, assuming that it's fine with your parents to check in with me.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Take care.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. That's cool. Yeah, that's a kid. Let me quickly get to Keith in Illinois. Keith, how are you doing?
All right, how are you now? Happy New Year to everybody.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you too, man.
Yeah, I just had, I don't know if you noticed this, I don't really watch Netflix, Hollywood. I don't support Satan at all. I just don't, support them. I refuse to do that.
Yeah.
Why, conservatives kill me how they, they say this is wrong and this is right. Well, why are you giving these people the power of your money to oppress you? Somebody need to explain that to me.
You're talking about people who patronize these different places or patron these places and watch these shows and watch the NFL and the NBA and the Netflix.
How do you call yourself a conservative or a Christian when you're supporting the people that really, have nothing but satanic values? I just can't comprehend that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And it is, but I will tell you, people like their entertainment. They call it bread and circuses, right? Bread and circuses, I believe, is a reference to, like, during the downfall of the Roman Empire, they kept the masses occupied with, they would give them free bread and stuff like that, and they would do entertainment. Meanwhile, they're getting away with all kinds of corruption, meaning the people so-called in charge. And meanwhile, the country or the empire was rotting from within. I think that's what's happening even to the so-called conservative people who are like, this is terrible. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. But, you say it's terrible, but you still support it. Like, I would never watch, a Disney film. I mean, come on. They're just the most, satanic, liberal, gay, homosexual, channels in the world. And still, these people support them through, watching their movies or downloading the movies for their children.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm just not with that. I can't comprehend that. Why are you complaining? It's like, if you don't want to make any noise on your job, if you don't want to be seen or where they come after you, just use your dollars, because these elites, these companies that oppress you will literally stop if you just quit spending money with them.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it's hard to make a dent because there's so many people in brainwashed masses who are watching it and patronizing it. So it's like a ill-gotten gain, really, is what they're getting. But for sure, there's a saying that some wise men have said, and maybe it's turned into a cliche, but they say a man is rich in what he can afford to do without. And I like that line because you should be able to do without and be with quiet, and that's really the best thing for you. So
it is, because you will get closer to God, because what it is, these satanic distractions. That's what they're there for, to distract you from the glory of God, from and having a relationship with God. That's what they're there for.
Nice.
And I have one other thing. I don't know if you noticed this. Like I just watch YouTube, but as I'm surfing channels, I do see. I was watching like the Fast and the Furious. It was Fast and Furious 9. Every time I see a new Hollywood movie, there's a 105-pound woman beating the hell out of a 230-pound man. That's all you ever see.
I know, huh? Terrible.
It's ridiculous. I mean, we all know that they can't, let alone a 105-pound woman. I mean, they don't make it like a 5'10" woman, like a Wonder Woman, that's kind of voluptuous. There's literally a 105-pound woman beating the hell out of a 230-pound man. I mean,
it's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. I mean, it's so, that's why I don't watch it. I don't patronize it, because that's all they're showing is they emasculate men 24/7.
True.
That's all they do.
Yep, and that's hatred of all people, really. It's hatred of humanity when you do that.
I feel the same way. It's the hatred of God. It's the hatred of country. It's the hatred of men. If you hate God, you hate country, and you hate men.
There's this channel called No White Guilt, who he made a point that I totally agree with, and I think I've made the point too before, that this attack on whites is really, it's to the detriment of everybody. When the whites thrive, everybody thrives.
Yeah.
And the same thing with this fake idea that, whites want to keep blacks down. That's dumb. Whites don't like blacks being degenerate, crime-ridden, so-called poor. We prefer that they be sensible, so we have fewer areas that we can't tread. You know what I mean? Because there's fewer crime-ridden areas. We don't like to see that. It's ridiculous.
And it's the same people that vote Democrat. I'm like, well, a lot of things that you talk about they were the slave owners, they were the KKK, they were, Jim Crow. So it's like, how do you complain about, history when you're still voting for the same people that created that history? I'm like, I just cannot comprehend that.
Well, man, they don't even care about history because we're told such backwards history anyway. We have to just look at the present because, I mean, you can delve into history a bit, and it is interesting if you find out what really went on, or if you can glean a lesson that's really true based on like what other people went through. That's cool, but I don't really get into they were the party of KKK, because compared to today, they're way worse. They're way worse than when the KKK. They're way worse than when slavery was happening. Give me a break.
I do agree, because the damage that they're causing, the pain and suffering, and the demise of our country. Yes, I mean the KKK wasn't. They are nowhere near demising the country the way our government is doing today. You're right, and I agree with you 100%.
Cool, man.
But if you listen to people, they will go back and make these statements, and that's when I bring it. It ain't me that watch it; it's them that watch it. I don't watch that because I know a lot of times it's over-exaggerated by 1,000. They don't tell the fact, like all the liberal channels do not say the Democrats were the slave owners. They don't even say that.
I know.
Because they work for the Democrats, so they don't say it.
Yeah. And they also melodramatize how bad the slavery was. Many slave owners, I dare say, were pretty honorable. They were decent men. But now they want to say, slavery is the worst thing ever, because they don't want to look at the evil realities happening today that's promoted by them. They love killing the babies.
That's exactly right.
They love
I mean,
brainwashing the children.
That's what we're saying, 100% the same.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take up no more of your time. I appreciate you letting me speak and everything.
Thank you,
and
Keith.
I'll be in touch. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hake. I'll talk to Nick a little later.
Sounds good, man. Cool.
All right, Hake.
Bye. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I've heard stuff about what was going on. The North was not necessarily the good guys either. You know what I mean? What a mess. So anyway, let me share with you. This is from Columbia Bugle on Twitter. Great outlet. Follow GLP Talk on Twitter. Follow Columbia Bugle on Twitter. You can follow the Hake Report or James Anton Hake on Twitter. Clip 11, I think. Yeah. Governor Ron DeSantis. You guys like him? You guys trust him? Trust no man. But a fairly decent sometimes guy, seems like, out of Florida. 43 or so years old. I'm almost his age. Man, and he's governor of Florida. Wow. Before that, he was a representative in the House of Representatives. Seems like an okay guy. I don't know for sure, but, and his wife, 41 years old, has some crazy form of cancer. So, pray for them, Wish them well. But Ron DeSantis, he was at a press conference, apparently, asking questions about the FBI pulling people off their January 6th most wanted list. And yet Twitter Fact Check and PolitiFact and all these organizations say, no evidence that the feds were involved, right? I'm not saying they were or weren't, but it was definitely a setup, exploiting the anger of the people. Ignore the legitimate complaints and questions. Ignore the rioting of the Black Lives Matter. Get the people riled. You know what I mean? Lie to a conservative to their face. They know you're lying. That's a good way to get a conservative who has anger, which is not really a conservative, technically, right? But that's a good way to get a person who doesn't like to be lied to, who wants to like the truth, right? Wants to hold to the truth. Get them frustrated. It's like what the parents sometimes do to children, or it's what the government's been doing to us. It's what the media's been trying to do to us. Get under your skin. They want you going crazy. There's a setup, just like what they did with the Charlottesville situation, if you know what I'm talking about. the Unite the Right rally. Mostly peaceful whites. In fact, almost 100% peaceful. And they were being attacked and having to defend themselves against Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Where was Antifa? Mike Cernovich asked that day, by the way. Antifa's everywhere where there's even the smallest little rally. Did they think that they were going to be outnumbered, or were they tipped off by somebody that there was going to be a nice setup to make the conservatives look bad, so Antifa was told not to show up? Or were they... I heard that there were some people dressed in black bloc and then they stripped their clothing and they had Trump gear underneath. I saw that on the Tucker Carlson documentary, Patriot Purge. That's over on Fox Nation. I watched that whole thing. It was very interesting. So anyway, here's Ron DeSantis asking questions about this melodrama. And he mentions Christopher Wray, who all the decent people wanted Trump to fire Christopher Wray, the FBI guy. He's like the head of the FBI, and he's a sleazy person. Listen to this.
That if this is what you said it was, why are you not charging people? So I think it's going to end up being just a politicized Charlie Foxtrot today. I don't expect anything good to come out of anything that Pelosi and the gang are doing. I don't expect anything from the corporate press to be enlightening. I think it's going to be nauseating, quite frankly, and I'm not going to do it. But I do think that if you have this January 6th committee, why do we not know some of the people who we know were really involved in orchestrating this? They got pulled off the most wanted list. Christopher Wray was asked at the under oath what FBI was involved in that, and he would not answer the question. And so I think that this is something that has really been used for political narrative and posturing purposes. I don't think it's been effective. You know, people here in Florida, they care about inflation and they care about gas prices and education and crime and all the key issues that are so important. And that's what they talk to me about. But there is an obsession with this amongst the DC, New York journalist class. And again, I think it's because it allows them to spin a narrative that they want to spin. They did not care as much about what happened after 2016 when you had a false Russia collusion conspiracy theory that was put on for years because they were involved when doing it, and how that may have damaged trust in institutions or all that. So I just think that it is what it is, but it's not something that I've been concerned about in my job here, because quite frankly, it's not something that most Floridians have been concerned about.
Yep, exactly. Normal people don't care about this thing. Only the people, they don't know about it, they don't care about it, they may have heard about it, and they're like, oh yeah, those right-wingers, they're so bad, because they've been told that by the media, but they're not really paying attention. They don't know or care about this. They care about the shutdowns because it's affecting them. It's true. By the way, can we play the melodrama that I played of Ted Cruz, calling it a terrorist attack? What in the world? Listen to Ted Cruz. I played this yesterday.
Solemn anniversary this week.
Solemn anniversary.
And it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol. We are grateful for that courage. We appreciate the selfless sacrifice of the men and women who keep us safe.
They did not sacrifice. They did their job, and some of them did it poorly, by the way, and then some of them were not allowed to do their job. I told you that Trump said he wanted 10,000 troops. The Twitter fact check says, he didn't officially request it. I don't know. He was undermined at a lot of turns. So their little fact check doesn't prove anything to me. And so Ted Cruz is smearing a little circus, a mostly peaceful circus. I think, hat tip to TKR official. I think that's where I saw that line, circus. In the Capitol, where they just went in and mulled around. Some of them some people did something. Here is, I saw this clip shared by Cernovich on Twitter. He shares Tucker Carlson of Fox News, who did that Patriot Purge documentary, questioning, like, what really happened. Talking to Ted Cruz, confronting Ted Cruz on his calling it a terrorist attack. Listen to this. Oh, clip 12. Sorry about that.
You called this a terror attack when by no definition was it a terror attack. That's a lie. You told that lie on purpose, and I'm wondering why you did.
Well, Tucker, thank you for having me on. When you aired your episode last night, I sent you a text shortly thereafter and said, listen, I'd like to go on because the way I phrased things yesterday, it was sloppy and it was frankly dumb. And
I don't buy that.
Result,
whoa. I don't buy that. Look, I've known you a long time, since before you went to the Senate. You were a Supreme Court contender. You take words as seriously as any man who's ever served in the Senate. And every word you repeated that phrase. I do not believe that you used that accidentally. I just don't.
Yep.
So, Tucker.
Yep. This guy's a lawyer / liar, Lyin Ted. And I used to really like Ted Cruz. I used to think, oh yeah, he's so great. I used to like Rafael Cruz, his Cuban father. Shameful. Thank you, Tucker, for confronting Ted Cruz on that. Ted Cruz is a beta, says Super Dave. Yeah. And by the way, he was born in Calgary. That's up in Canada. Reminds me of the ankle baby. But I think Nick, the real Cuban Republican, would not cave like Ted Cruz, because he's not a brainwashed intellectual. A lot of lawyers and a lot of politicians are phony, and Ted Cruz exposed himself as a phony politician from the time that Trump ran for office. And he was a simp for his wife. Trump posted a picture of Ted Cruz's wife with an ugly face, making an ugly expression face, next to his wife, Trump's beautiful third wife, or however many, but all pretty. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm voting for Trump, because we'll have an actually pretty first lady. It was funny. And Ted Cruz took it all personal. Ooh, I'm not gonna forgive a man who will disrespect my wife. Come on, get a sense of humor. Anyway, here's a little bit more. Tucker talking about one of the guys who was, I don't think, ever arrested, and purportedly he was taken off the FBI's most wanted list, a reference to what DeSantis was talking about. Here's clip 13, Tucker talking about Ray Epps, the guy who's all, we're gonna go in the Capitol building. That's where all our problems are. Wrong. Your problems are within. And then I will get to calls, guys. I appreciate it. Hang tight. And by the way, Baked Alaska's like, oh, Fed. And somebody said, shut the blank up, boomer, with a super chat or something like that. Because people can sniff a person who's a rat, but there's a whole lot of suckers in a big crowd, right? Suckers who think, oh, no, it's no big deal. Even Baked Alaska himself, he got sucked into the Capitol building, and he's suffering for it. Pray for all the political prisoners. I don't know if he's a prisoner right now, but he's facing some charges. There are other people facing worse stuff even than him. Here's Tucker talking about Ray Epps. Just
remember Ray Epps? He's on video several times encouraging crimes, riots, breaches of the Capitol on January 6th. He was on the FBI website. Now he's gone. Hasn't been charged with anything, apparently. Why is that? That's a real question. No one in Congress seems to care, even supposedly conservative Republican senators. What are they busy doing? Well, they're busy repeating the talking points that Merrick Garland has written for them. Here's one example.
We are approaching a solemn anniversary this week, and it is an anniversary of a violent terrorist attack on the Capitol, where we saw the men and women of law enforcement demonstrate incredible courage, incredible bravery, risk their lives to defend the men and women who serve in this Capitol.
Now, let's be honest. Everyone who's conservative appreciates Ted Cruz. I mean, I don't like him, but you got to appreciate him. He's legitimately smart. He's one of the more articulate people to serve in the Congress, maybe the most articulate. He doesn't use a single word by accident. Every word Ted Cruz uses is used intentionally. He's a lawyer. He described January 6th as a violent terrorist attack. Of all the things that January 6th was, it was definitely not a violent terrorist attack. It wasn't an insurrection. Was it a riot? Sure. It was not a violent terrorist attack. Sorry. So why are you telling us that it was, Ted Cruz? And why are none of your Republican friends who are supposed to be representing us and all the people who have been arrested during this purge saying anything? What the hell's going on here? Whoa. You're making us think maybe the Republican Party is as worthless as we suspected it was. That can't be true. Reassure us, please, Ted Cruz.
So thank you, Tucker. I might have played that out of chronological order, but it wraps up the point. What's up with the Wolverine beard? Thank you for noticing, Sariq. It's so ridiculous. Where is the people saying, where was your concern about the actual insurrection across the country that actually destroyed people's livelihoods and lives in some cases, killed people? And falsely smeared cops and whites of imaginary racism by people who actually hate America, don't want America to exist at all. Black Lives Matter and Antifa and Democrats in general. Andy, no. You know that guy who's, I was like, whoa, when Tucker said, what the H is going on? If there's a time to cuss, that's a time to cuss, though, okay? So I don't hold it against Ted Cruz Tucker Carlson for saying what the H is going on, because it's ridiculous. Andy No tweeted, flashback in May 2020, mobs of far-left rioters tried to storm the White House, the Trump White House. I think this was in response, overreaction, calculated overreaction to Georgia, Florida dying, right? They were repelled by police who were assaulted and hit with projectiles. Democrats and leftists condemned law enforcement at the time for stopping the rioters. At night, far-left rioters surrounded the White House and tried tearing apart the protective barrier so they could storm the building. Secret Service and law enforcement injured by the violent extremists. They tore apart the barrier, attempted to storm the building and burn it down. Many in the mob called for the President Trump to be lynched. Secret Service officers suffered a head injury after being assaulted by Black Lives Matter and far-left rioters trying to storm the White House. Dozens of other Secret Service agents injured as well. In addition to tearing apart the barriers outside the White House and assaulting Secret Service and law enforcement, the far-left rioters carried out an arson attack, tried to storm the building in an uprising against the president. Is that when they tried to set the church across the street on fire? And then the stupid mainstream media called it a photo op when Trump posed with the Bible in front of that church? Is that the same incident? Is that the same situation? Because Trump showed a show of force and how you control a terrible riot. You quell the riot. You quell an insurrection, an actual insurrection, by actually violent anti-American people, an actual attack on America, right? It's racist to stop rioters, yeah. So phony. I'm going to show you this not Christian teacher who's brainwashing children about the January 6th thing, but, I'm trudging through this stuff kind of slowly. So let me get to a call or two, guys. We are coming up on 10 minutes till the hour. I meant to cover a bunch of other stuff. So first, let me get to Tony in New Jersey. Tony, how are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing well, thank you.
So, I'll call you up. So, I don't understand you saying something about with the KKK, how the KKK was better than, did it really do much damage, or they didn't really?
Right.
What was your quote?
The KKK is not as bad as the Democrats today. I don't know much about the KKK because probably they didn't actually do all that much. They burned some crosses in yards, I heard. They may have done like a bombing of a church, and I don't know that the KKK specifically endorsed it, but some members did some things. Same thing with the Nation of Islam has done a lot of assassinations and things, at least members have. including of Malcolm X, by the way. But,
so what was the goal? What was the goal of the KKK?
Originally, what I heard from some historians in the chat was that they wanted to oppose the federal cops, meaning the federal imposers on the South, who are trying to force so-called Reconstruction on the South after the Civil War. The Union soldiers were doing some things that the locals did not like, and so the KKK was formed in response to that, I heard, according to historians. So they were formed
took it out
to
on black people.
Huh?
So they took it out. They took their anger and aggression out on black people?
No. I have not heard of many acts of anger and aggression upon black people.
So the KKK was against who then?
They were against the Northerners.
I never seen them like burning white people and
nor have you seen them burning black people.
Yeah, you got plenty of pictures.
No, you have pictures, but you don't know who did it.
Well, you see a whole bunch of white people, and then they surround it like a
right. That's not the KKK.
Black. So it's just white people. Then.
Yeah, those are white people who were.
Okay.
They were reacting to a perceived attack on their community by blacks through black on white crime.
So wait, what?
Black on white crime. Yeah, lynchings were primarily a reaction against black on white crime.
So you're talking about after slavery?
Yeah, after slavery. Yeah.
Black people were just attacking white people.
Yeah, and so white people attacked
the blacks.
Even though
you don't have no pictures of black people, burning white people, but you got pictures of
because the blacks don't have
people hanging.
Blacks did some of that stuff,
I've never seen a picture.
Because blacks didn't have cameras. They had cameras for events,
but they're able to.
So why are you going to say why you didn't see any pictures?
Sense? No, but I'm saying all the pictures you see is like a whole bunch of white people.
And when whites took those pictures, according to what I've read from historians, which take it with a grain of salt if you like, but when it was written down, it would say the name of the person who was the suspect, it would say the perceived crime, and it would say the date. If it was not written on, it was a lynching perpetrated by blacks because many of them were not they were not literate. They couldn't read or write. So they wouldn't necessarily write down the perceived crime because lynchings were just basically street justice by the community the men of the community were expected to impose the local law. And so they were reacting, you might say overreacting in some cases.
The local law of blacks not coming into the establishment.
It's not so much about that. It was more about rapes, robberies, and murders.
So you're claiming that these black people that's in these pictures being hanged and castrated, and these were for rapes and things like that?
Yeah, there was one who was castrated, and
Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it makes.
Or you just making this stuff up?
No, it makes sense. I read it, and it makes sense because why else would the whites be so angry?
I don't know. Saying the blacks. Why would they be so angry at black people?
I'm not saying that the blacks were all guilty. Some of them may have been innocent and falsely accused. FYI, but for the most part, that was the reason that the whites were reacting in that way. And you see the blacks acting that way today.
No, I'm talking about back then.
Yeah, but you see blacks acting that way today, do you not? You see them getting all riled and taken to the streets and saying, oh, a white man imposed on us blacks, a white cop. So you know human nature is really like that. So why is it so hard for you to believe that that's what was really happening?
No, I'm just trying to wonder why white people.
You think whites would just at the sight of a black who happened to step inside of a building, they would just go crazy and lynch him? I don't think that most whites would. They might kick him out, be like, "Hey, not welcome."
Well, do you hear stuff in the chat? Do you see how white people act in the chat? Do you see how they talk in your chat?
Not always. I see a little bit, but what's your point? Talk is cheap.
This is 2021, and you're talking about.
It's not 2021.
Things get better. 2022, and you're talking about from like the 1700s. And
right.
You think they was treating black people better back then than now?
I don't know. What are you
don't
talking
know?
about?
Come on.
Blacks are treated too well.
Back then, they were treated too well.
I don't know about back then
And
because
this
I wasn't
goes
around.
back to your see, but you got to stop saying stuff like that. This go back to you say that.
Why do I have to stop
slave
saying the truth?
owners
Why do I have to stop saying the truth?
Honorable? Slave owners were honorable?
Yes.
So could you have an honorable rapist?
I don't know. Maybe some rapists have been so-called honorable. Many men are falsely accused. Many honorable men have been falsely accused of rape. So yeah.
No, I said, can you have an honorable rapist? Somebody that actually raped somebody. Can
Somebody
they be
who
honorable?
actually raped somebody?
Yeah.
They can repent and be honorable, yes.
So you got an actual
Do you think
criminal
that slavery
honorable.
slavery is not rape? You know that, right? Rape,
No, but slavery,
rape is sex out of wedlock. Slavery is just a
owning somebody.
situation.
Would you like to be a slave?
Not particularly, nor would I like to be
Why
a slave
not?
owner.
Why not? Why wouldn't you like to be a slave?
It sounds inconvenient, whether a slave owner or a slave. I wouldn't want to be either
you
one.
Because you don't have your freedom, right?
Right.
You know it's a wrong thing to own somebody, own another
Why?
human.
How is that wrong?
Because that person doesn't have their freedom.
Right.
You're sitting there
But that's
talking
not
about
wrong.
you want your
How is
freedom
that
from
wrong?
mandates, but you want to control a whole person and you don't think that's wrong, but you're crying about
How is it
taking
wrong?
some vaccine, that people can't control your lives for vaccine, but now you want to control somebody's whole life?
I don't want to
And
control
you don't
anybody's
think
whole
that's
life.
wrong?
I don't want to
you said
control
it's not
anybody's whole
wrong.
life.
You said it's not wrong. And I'm saying, of course it's wrong to own somebody, that person doesn't have their own freedom to live their own life.
But you don't have
wrong?
you don't have your freedom to live your own life. You're not living your own
Of
life.
course I can.
No, you're
Of
not.
course you can.
No, you're not. You're not living your own life.
So
you are a
who's
slave.
stopping you from coming to work? Who's stopping you from coming to work?
But you are a slave.
I'm asking you, who's stopping you from coming into work?
Nobody. I'm not
Anybody?
talking about myself. I'm talking about you. You're a slave.
What are you talking about? How
You're
am I
a slave to sin and hatred of white people.
I'm a slave. Wait. What is sin?
Sin is your hatred of white people and your hatred in general.
No, what is sin? No, I'm saying, what is sin? You saying I'm
Hatred.
a slave to sin.
Hatred. Do you
Sin
not
is hatred?
get the cotton out of your mouth, out of your ears?
Go ahead. What is sin?
I just told you.
You said hatred.
Yes.
You're
You're full of
From the
hatred.
Bible?
You're full of
This is
hatred.
from the Bible?
Yes.
I'm just
you're
asking
full of
if that's from the Bible.
Yes, you're full of hatred.
How am I full of hatred? I didn't say anything that wasn't true.
Yes, you did. You said a whole bunch
I
of
just
stuff that's
asked
not
you
true.
I just asked you if slavery is wrong. You said there's nothing wrong with it. And I'm saying owning somebody else.
I asked you what's wrong with slavery, and you're
And I told you.
And
Owning
it's
somebody
irrelevant
is
because
wrong.
slavery doesn't really exist today in America, except for
Yeah, but you're still
except in the
saying
sense that you're a
there's
slave.
honorable. All you got to say is just, okay, it was wrong. It was a bad part of history.
It doesn't mean that there were dishonorable slave owners. They were honorable men.
Yes, it does. Once you own
it doesn't.
somebody, that's dishonorable.
No, it's not.
The honorable
No, it's
thing
not.
would be to free that person.
That's
if you
dumb.
own them, to free them.
You don't
Why
even
not?
have morals. You don't even have honor. So who are you to preach about
So you
dead
don't
slave
think
owners?
So you don't
who are
think the
better than you.
honorable thing? So if somebody gave you, hey, here's a
Who
slave,
are you,
hey,
Tony?
Would you want to own that person, or would you say, hey, no?
Tony, who are you to preach against honorable dead slave owners who are better men than you, pretending that you know what's honorable when you're not an honorable man yourself?
But you said
No.
it's honorable,
Who are
and
you?
I'm trying to
Tell me who you are to say what's honorable or not. Regarding
I know,
people whom you
I
don't
know
even
what's right
know.
and wrong. I know what's right and
No,
wrong.
you do not know what's right and wrong. You do not know what's right and wrong.
If somebody gave you a slave,
Abortion.
would you say,
Abortion.
I'm going to keep
Tony.
this slave?
I'm putting them on hold. Tony, abortion, right or wrong?
Is abortion right or wrong?
Yeah.
Now, I got into this thing and I said...
Abortion,
so
right or wrong?
Wrong.
Let's see.
Wait, now let me ask you a question.
LGBT,
No,
right
let
or
me
wrong?
ask you a
No, I'm
question.
making a point.
No, I'm gonna ask you-
LGBT, LGBT, right or wrong?
LGBT.
Yeah, pushing
Is it right?
LGBT as right. Is that right or wrong?
It's right.
It's right. See, you don't know
Yeah.
what's right or wrong. You don't
How
believe
is
in
that
right
not
or wrong.
right? How is that right? Who are they hurting?
You acknowledge
Abortion, you might be hurting somebody. You might be hurting the fetus.
Might?
Right?
Might?
You might be hurting. You might be hurting the fetus.
Are you saying abortion might be hurting somebody?
well, okay.
Every
hurting,
time
right?
abortion hurts somebody.
let me ask you.
Every
let me ask you a
time with
question.
slavery, there were honorable slave owners who treated their slaves right, and there were dishonorable ones, I assume,
But how could
who
you
did not treat their
somebody
slaves
right if you own
Every
them?
time with abortion and every time with LGBTIQ, you are lying to a person by saying you're just killing a little clump of cells, or love is love. You're lying to the people, and you are murdering. So, Tony, you're a joke.
No. So let me go back to this thing with abortion. Let's go back to the thing with abortion. So it's not okay with us hurting somebody.
No.
So let me ask you a question. So a family that's poor,
You already lost.
and they're starving, do you have to help them?
No, you do not have to help them.
Why not? So you don't care about that life, right?
No, I don't care about that. They have to care about themselves.
Well, no. So you care about it before it's born, but you don't care about the life after it's born.
I don't even care about it before it's born. I just say it's wrong to kill. Because it's not my job to care about the life before it was born or after it was born. I'm not the father, but it's wrong to kill. Right or wrong. You're a joke, Tony. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?
It's not right to kill, right? Right. It's not right to kill, right?
It's wrong to kill unjustly.
A police shooting a suspect.
You're a
right?
silly man.
You
are a silly male.
Is that right or wrong?
It's right.
Is that right or wrong?
It's right.
Why is that right? It's killing.
Because that's a justified killing.
No.
Most police killings of suspects
No, well, you can say
are
that
justified.
about abortion now. I
No,
just
you
asked
can't.
if it's right or wrong.
See, you don't
can say that
actually
about
believe you.
abortion.
You don't
I
even
can say
actually believe that abortion is wrong.
justified.
You're lying
No,
to
but
me.
I can say that's a justified. You just
you
said
would be
justified.
lying.
I just asked if it's right or wrong.
You would be lying.
I didn't ask if it's justified, right or wrong.
You would be lying.
A cop killing the suspect if he's running, is that right or wrong?
It's usually right.
No, don't usually. I asked it right. You're
It depends on the situation. It depends on the situation.
No, it's not. It's either right or wrong.
No,
somebody's running. Should a cop kill?
Each situation, there is a right and there is a wrong in each situation.
Even though the cop don't know what the person is running away from.
You don't even know what you're talking about. You're making up a fake scenario.
So, no, there's plenty of situation where, what are you talking about?
You just made up a fake scenario where you can just add little details as you please.
A whole bunch of cops.
You're a joke, Tony. I gotta go.
All right, nice talking to you.
All right, nice talking to you too. What a mess. Anyway, that was fun. Before I get to calls, let's get to some Christmas music. I know Christmas is over, but this is Sufjan Stevens, or as I used to call it when I read it and I hadn't ever heard the name before, Sufjan Stevens. What a mess. It's another Christmas song. It's called The Friendly Beast from Hark, Songs for Christmas. It's 10:03, guys. I'll be back for the rest of hour 2. More calls and more mess from the liberals. I'll be right back, guys.
Jesus, our brother, strong and good, was humbly born in a stable rude, and the friendly beasts around him stood. Jesus, our brother, strong and good. I sat the donkey, shaggy and brown. I carried his mother uphill and down. I carried his mother to Bethlehem town. I said the donkey, shaggy and brown.
Isn't this great? No? Hope this isn't the guy. Emo Folk Christmas with Hake. Sounds like soy. Don't know why, but I like this. What the? This is horrible. It's Ukrainian Christmas here, says Fred Johnson. Really? That's interesting. Asmodor over there in the Odyssey chat says Johnny Cash's version of this is 10 million times better. Wow. 10 million? I like the male singers who don't whisper like betas when they sing. Hake, adopt a pit bull, says Dindu Muffin. Hake, you should check out the song Noah Found Grace in the Eyes of the Lord by Burl Ives, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Come Up to the House by Tom Waits, says John Rios. Well, thank you for the tip, man. Tony is a bad name, says Jesuit Crook. Never name your kid Tony. Some super chats, guys, since I'm reading chat right now. Smells OG says David Dorn didn't get a chance to ignore BLM. Yeah. David Dorn, the black former cop who was protecting like a jewelry store of a friend, shot in the head and killed by a fellow black who was rioting and looting. I forget where that was, but one of the many casualties of the Black Lives Matter false movement. And you know, the Black Lives Matter claimed more lives than just the riots, because their propping up by the media and the establishment has resulted in the tearing down of the police and of the whites has caused society to be less safe, obviously, right? Increased murders. They call it the Ferguson effect at first, and now maybe they call it the George Floyd effect this time again. But criminologists don't want to acknowledge the truth. Nicole R. says it's called gaslighting when the media just blatantly lies to us. Your girlfriend states, we're hearing Cassandra grow up. And she's like, has a screaming face. Nice. Thank you, your girlfriend. Venti Soy Latte. Great name with the super chat on streamlabs.com/The Hake Report. No, just kidding. I've never had that before that I know of. Gave a super chat. Did you watch the new Matrix movie? Oh, you mean that transgender movie? No, I'm kidding. Well, half kidding. I heard they were trying hard to redefine getting red-pilled. Yeah. Yeah, I saw this propaganda from the media, right? That the red pill actually resembles the estrogen pill for transitioning into transgender. What a mess. Peter from Paris. I have not watched it. I'm mildly interested, I guess. I don't know. Because I like John Wick, Jack Bauer, Kyle Rittenhouse. Who am I thinking of? Who's that cowboy? Not Clint Eastwood, but John Wayne, thank you. But I don't know if I will watch it. I never watched the third one. I don't even know if I watched the second Matrix. I saw the first one. I liked it. I might have seen the second one. Definitely didn't watch the third. We'll see if I watch the fourth. Peter from Periscope gave us a super chat. Did I just hear Hake is meeting up with Snake Pit Chat in Dallas? Whoa. Well, I'm open to meeting up with you guys, although I don't know how much time I'll have. Probably I want to just hang out and rest. But if you go to that debate con, I guess it is, which is Saturday and Sunday next week, not this Saturday and Sunday, but the following in Dallas, Texas, hosted, I believe, by Modern Day Debate. Hat tip, James over there at Modern Day Debate. I believe I am scheduled to appear in a debate over there on Sunday. And then I'll fly right back home. Jib Jab says, Merry Little Christmas, my Nga. Only he didn't say Nga, he spelled N-I-G-G-A. And I want to say it, but I won't. But thank you, Jib Jab. Appreciate it. Merry Little Christmas. Yesterday, I believe, was Little Christmas, also known as Old Christmas. Armenian Christmas, Irish Christmas, Amish Christmas. Bad Bibby 42 with the super chat. Happy half birthday, Hake. Only 6 months away, but Hake-mania is still running wild, brother. Never ending. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. By the way, somebody made a reference to Wolverine facial hair. I think that's a reference to sideburns. I have my sideburns growing a little. It's a recommendation by Bad Bibby 42. And I like to think that it complements the soul patch. Whites have souls. Gingers have souls. Don't do me like that, James. Enga? Jib Jab, I want to say it. He's all messed up, bro. It's messed up. Because he said, Merry Little Christmas. I'm already on the mode of not saying it, man. Shameful. Asmodor states with a super chat over there on Odyssey, every time an abortion happens, the unborn child, the mother, the father, the grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and potential children and grandchildren of the unborn child, and all the friends they would never have ever had, are wounded. One abortion is a butterfly effect of evil, and pain. Yeah. And Asmodor states, the chat lynched me for being black in the chat. And he's mocking, of course, Tony from... Is he from New Jersey? Is that where he was from? Yeah. Has Tucker interviewed Darren Beatty yet? Well, he was... Darren Beatty of Revolver.News was on that Patriot Purge documentary. Did appear there. I don't know. I think that he might have been on there before. What a mess. Do you hear how black people talk in the street? Do you hear how black women talk in salons? Do you hear how black kids talk in school versus how white people talk in chat, in the live chat? Yeah, come on, man. Anyway, great points all. Appreciate the super chats. Thank you very much. Hake, we need that sideburn check. 7 days away. $100 for bond is incoming, says Bad Bibby 42. Also, best of luck on your little debate tonight. Yeah, I'm on the Hippy Dippy Roundtable. There it is again. Sideburns. By the way, I'm wearing a Get a Job t-shirt. Teespring.com/stores/Get a Job. I am not Get a Job, even though I tout his stuff, his sticker, his t-shirt. Sticker every day, t-shirt every so often. Get a Job has an excellent channel. Jesse Lee Peterson, Savage Moments. Nice. And more. Okay. Let me get to Giuseppe. Am I pronouncing your name right? Am I pronouncing it right, Giuseppe? Out of Texas?
Of course. Brother Jake, you don't remember me?
I recognize your voice, and I know it. I've talked to you before. Have I called you Giuseppe before? Or did you go by a different name?
No. I kept my name.
Okay.
It's all good.
Nice.
Well, I listened a while back, and then when you went off on Sundays, my work schedule wouldn't allow it. So I'd listen from time to time, but I couldn't call in.
Right.
You got better, bro.
Thank you, man.
I
appreciate
better.
That. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, I started out Sundays only. For those who may not know, I was on Sunday mornings from 9 to 10 before church in here in Los Angeles. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, right on. The more I feel like you're letting go more.
Cool.
It was really
right.
It's nice. Yeah, good for you. So I called this morning just to do a little fellowship with you.
Okay.
So as we're moving along here, I'm wondering. Listen, I'm guilty just as much as anybody else of following the politics and the stuff that's going on in the world, let's say, okay? But if we truly believe as Christians that it's a spiritual battle, then I'm thinking this is a little bit silly. I think of the life of a Smith Wigglesworth or a Charles Finney or a Charles Sturgeon for the guys in the chat that want to look those guys up. These guys just read the scriptures and prayed and were into the community that was around them. And as I see what's happening in our country and across the world, I'm not certain that would be the best use of our time. So I want to see what you think about it.
It's a good thing to remember that this stuff is, in a certain way, not a big deal. And a lot of people get sucked into politics, and then that's all they care about. Or some people get sucked into their version of religion, and they think that's all they care about. You don't want to use either one as an escape or as a obsession. That's for sure. So I agree with you to a certain extent. But we do need to deal with the world and be leaders in the world and push for what's right and tell the truth to the lies. But yeah, I mean, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because I think as we're watching this stuff, we're getting all riled up, and I agree with you. There's no reason to get riled up about anything.
Yeah, you want to.
As we're watching,
go ahead.
Well, as we're watching what's happening, what seems to me, what I'm observing is we're on a loop. People get excited and they're into a certain movement and an arc, right, that's coming, and then they get disappointed because they're like, oh, wow, look, they're still the powers that be, or the powers that think they are, basically keep doing what they want.
Right.
So if the battle is spiritual, I'm just arguing for more time in prayer, more time with the Lord, and more time with each other. I think you're better off hanging out with people that are around you and doing fellowship and reading the scriptures than you are on BitChute or on Rumble.
Okay. Well, you don't want to waste your time watching endless content, but it's good to keep up with what's going on. There is a time to do something. Everything. I love this line. I heard it from JLP actually. Everything right is done out of stillness, not out of excitement or overreaction. So when you're presented with an evil situation, say you want to go protest an abortion clinic or speak at confront the local politicians or whatever, or go to a rally, a Stop the Steal rally. You want to do it out of calm so you don't get caught up and do something foolish. And then you can see what you're getting into because you're not in a state of excitement. But you do want to be active we're men, and men are supposed to be leaders in the world and subdue the earth. And although Satan is the god of this world, we don't need to be results based. And so we don't need to be down when evil continues, despite our best efforts at fighting evil. We also need to endlessly never grow tired in doing what's right. And sometimes, many times, what's right is fighting for what's right on the political field.
Right on. Right on. Very good. Very good. Okay. Well, that's a little clarity both ways, because I do ponder that.
But yeah, never. The Bible does say pray without ceasing.
Hallelujah.
And it does say when you're going before a court or whatever, don't think about what you're going to say, be led by the Spirit. Don't be like planning ahead what you're going to say. It says something like that in the Bible. Be led by the Spirit. That means you never forget what's right, what's important.
Right. Let the Holy Spirit guide you.
Yeah. Nice, man.
Okay.
But don't be a do nothing. Don't go into hiding. Don't go into just feel good, la 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 type stuff. Because that's what I kind of did that for a while when I was a younger male. I was like, I saw within myself and I saw in others how others would get into politics and they would get angry. Really, the anger, evil within them would get revealed by the stress, right? It's not as if they weren't angry before they got into the politics. It's just exposed the anger and the evil within them. And seeing that, I hid from politics, or I just stayed away from politics because I didn't like the anger and evil and ugliness that it brought out of myself and others. So I avoided it. But then when I started coming to church with Jesse Lee Peterson, he broke it down to simple right and wrong. And when it's simple right and wrong, there's no emotions involved. It's right or it's wrong. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree. And I agree about the part that the anger towards what's happening politically is inside of people.
Right.
And it's just bringing it out.
And it's not even at root anger towards what's happening politically. It's the evil false judgment within that brings up every excuse to anything can tip it off. And it's kind of unpredictable sometimes what's going to tick off an angry person. Because the lie is that you have the right to be angry.
Right. It's setting off that spirit.
And a lot of the Christians who are hiding from the world, just singing and praying and stuff, they're angry people. They're just hiding from their anger. And they think that they're not angry. They're just hiding from it because they're not dealing with it. They're going along to get along. They've given up.
I don't know about that as a general statement. I
know it. I know it as a general statement. Have you been around those Christians who hide from the world? Oh my gosh. Christians shouldn't be involved in politics. And then meanwhile, the liberal Christians are quite involved. It's ridiculous.
No, that hasn't been my experience. No, I just, my testimony is more that
I wasn't saying you personally. I'm just talking about Christians in general. I don't know if I've seen it all over. But what I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I was going to say that wasn't my experience. My experience has been as I'm less following all the details about what's happening because this stuff just seems to be happening. So we become very aware of all the details that are happening, but yet it's still happening. So you're aware of the details on the train that's coming down the track, but the train is still coming down the track.
Yeah, and there's no stopping it.
My experience has been more into the Word and into praying and into fellowship like I'm doing with you right now. And my life has gotten, I'm the happiest I've ever been.
All right.
That's my testimony.
Cool, man.
And check out Smith Wigglesworth.
Smith Wigglesworth, a historical Christian figure. All right.
Yep. Right on.
Thank you, Giuseppe. It's great to hear from you, man.
Yeah, you too, brother. Happy New Year.
You as well. Take care. Wow. Quick super chat from Willie Powell on the Streamlabs. I am looking forward to watching you debating tonight on Dylan's show. God is with you, Hake. Appreciate that, man. Hippy Dippy Roundtable. Destiny will be there. And many others. Lecture Fan, who seemed like an okay guy. And many others. So look out for that. TheHakeReport.com. I'll post it. This is Dylan Burns' tweet that we're showing right now. A surprise guest. Going to talk about January 6th, 1 year later, Biden's first year in office, Marjorie Greene's Twitter ban. She's a pro-Trump. No representation allowed for real Americans on Twitter or in the government. That's the goal of these evil people. What a mess, huh? let me get to this story. I saw on Twitter this woman. This is one of the last 2 or 3 January 6th related items that I'll touch on. This is a non-Christian teacher. Rosenberg. What's her first name? Kind of doesn't matter. But she was tweeting, J6 teacher. She was tweeting, and then later deleted, by the way, but she posted a whole article about this. What she taught kids, children, high schoolers, I guess, about the protest. And so, what does she show? The first one has a picture of her standing in front of a whiteboard saying, teaching about the hashtag January 6th, hashtag Capitol Riot today. And she's a blue check mark on Twitter, meaning she's a verified liberal, enemy of America. For the most part, that's what blue check marks are, by and large. And if you look at what the whiteboard says, what does this make you think? What does this make you wonder? And she draws a contrast between multiracial democracy versus white supremacy. And I can only assume that she's calling Biden's so-called election a multiracial democracy, which is not what we are. And she seems to be accusing the January 6th mostly peaceful protesters of being white supremacy. Biden versus Trump, basically. Trump being pro-America, loving America, not hating white people. Biden being hate-filled toward white people. An absolute minority. That's a source of our strength. Sleazy Joe being a multiracial democracy, which means mob rule, which is not a desirable thing because that's communism. That's destruction. Every idiot voting, most people are evil, right? You don't want those people voting. But she does because she supports evil. I looked up, and she's wearing a mask in this, so I looked up her Twitter profile picture. And it appears she's still wearing a mask, but you see her nose and face and lips that seem to be puffed up with who knows what, fillers or something. And this is a horrific woman. She's involved in history, politics, education, so-called civil rights, pop culture, and feminism. And she's an educator and a host. Rosenberg, her profile pic. What's her first name? Sari Beth Rosenberg. She's not a Christian, just FYI. And she turned off replies for people who don't actually follow her. But Marianne Mancuso, another blue check mark, says that's accurate. January 6th was not only a domestic terror attack on our nation's capital, which it was not, it was also a glaring illustration on the power of white privilege. Jordan Wrigley says, you are a beautiful educator. And then Jack Origin says, holy blank, I would just leave your classroom and walk home. But she deleted this tweet because, why? Because here's why I deleted this tweet yesterday. She's calling the January 6ers a bunch of white supremacists, right? Everything I don't like is white supremacy. I didn't want to keep seeing quote tweets with my last name, Rosenberg, anti-Semitic cartoons, no such thing, superimposed on my face, misogynistic comments, meaning she's a woman, a liberal woman, implications that I'm a traitor to white people, which she is, she hates white people, references to the Holocaust, ovens, and the list goes on. So she deleted her tweet. And the liberal females were all falling over themselves, feeling sorry for her. Another instance of forcing women to self-censor rather than adequately enforcing terms of service. That's some woman calling for more censorship on Twitter. Surprise, surprise, right? The three worst groups: liberals, these Jewish people who are scaremongering about white supremacy and anti-Semitism, and women, control freaks. And they're only stirring up more hatred against themselves by doing this. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? I notice. As I write in How to Be a Woman Online right now, the onus is on women to protect ourselves from this kind of behavior. That has to change. Solidarity. This is what strong, change-making women deal with on a daily basis. Oh, dear. Insults online. well-deserved insults in some cases, right? The deplorables are deplorable, but they cannot and will not silence a better vision for America, meaning destroy America and rebuild it in your female-minded image. Until we stand up against anti-Semitism, no one will be free in this country. No one is free because you are standing up for that mess, standing up against that mess, and you don't believe in true freedom, right? Or what is left of now what I call the divided states of America. So these people are crazy. And she wrote this whole article in what? Parents.com. This Rosenberg woman, she wrote, how I'm teaching my students about the January 6th insurrection on the Capitol. Psycho woman, huh? On the 1-year anniversary of the Capitol insurrection, a lie. On January 6th, a high school history teacher, she's a history teacher, explains how we can teach students about what happened and why it's crucial. Psycho people. So that's a reason, Cassandra, if you're listening, that I do support homeschooling, because you're not going to get, hopefully, as brainwashed into terrible lies as if you leave your children to the likes of these blue check marks, right? Crazy. Oh, I have to show this to you. One other thing before I get back to calls, guys. This is ridiculous. Show this J6 dead rioters. These are the 5 people. This was, the curated trending list on Twitter, right? The publisher, propaganda publisher. These are the 5 people who died in the January 6th Capitol riot. And this is from Bloomberg Quick Take. Bloomberg. Not Christian, not real news, fake news. Very fake news. And this is propped up by Twitter, the publisher. These are the 5 people who died on the January 6th Capitol riot. Capitol officer Brian Sicknick, and listen to this, they call them all rioters. Rioters, Benjamin Phillip, is there footage of him rioting? Rosalind Boyland, is there footage of her rioting? Kevin Greason, is there footage of him rioting? And Ashley Babbitt, who I guess you could marginally call her a rioter because she jumped through a broken window. I suppose that is considered rioting. Mostly peaceful rioting, though. Died after a mob of Trump supporters breached the Capitol riot. Kevin Greason, a member of the mob. I don't think he's a member of the mob. Suffered a medical emergency. Oh, that's specific. During the insurrection, which it was not, and died. I wonder what prompted that medical emergency. They don't say. Ashley Babbitt, shot by an officer as she attempted to climb through a smashed glass door leading to the speaker's lobby. Shot and killed. And he faced no charges. What else? Let's see. Next one. Roseanne Boyland, trampled to death as the mob stormed toward the Capitol building, according to a companion. What a shame. That's another reason why you stay alert and avoid crowds. I mean, avoid getting in a smashed crowd. What a shame. Rest in peace, Roseanne. Capitol officer, this one is rich. This one is absolutely ridiculous. I can't believe it's even allowed on Twitter. Well, I can. But listen to this one. This is from Bloomberg Quick Take. Capitol officer Brian Sicknick, a Trump supporter, by the way, died after being beaten by rioters from the mob at the Capitol. I don't think he was beaten by rioters. Are they literally saying this? And this is from January 6th, 2022. They've had a whole year to get it right, and they still get it wrong. I don't think he was beaten at all. I don't even know if he was pepper sprayed. They claim that he might have texted that he got some pepper spray on him. Okay, which I believe him because he's a Trump supporter, or was. Rest in peace, Brian Sicknick, but there's no evidence he was beaten by rioters. At first, they were saying that he was beaten with what is that thing? Fire extinguisher. But that was somebody else who was hit with a fire extinguisher, and they didn't really die or even get that injured, I don't think. Benjamin Phillip, founder of a pro-Trump website, died from a medical emergency. Awfully specific. During the riot. One of these guys, I think it happened after, one of these guys died after the cops fired some type of canisters into the crowd. Needlessly, according to Elijah Schaffer. Crazy, huh? Is that I guess that's everybody. I don't know. What evil lies, huh? They said, oh, he died after being beaten to death. No, not beaten to death, but beaten. Implying or hinting, suggesting, by way of association, right, that the beating had to do with his death. Sicknick. Shameful. Anyway, what a mess. I got to get to Tony in California. He has some mess to say, no doubt. What's up, Tony? Or shall we give him a chance?
Good morning, Hank. How the heck are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great, my friend. Doing great.
Nice.
Yesterday was the celebration and anniversary of the attack on the Capitol building by the Trump supporters.
I don't know that any Trump supporters attacked the Capitol building. I know that some people broke windows, but I don't know who those people were. So I don't agree with you. You're not being accurate.
They still look for them. They're still looking for them, sir.
They're still looking for the people who were on camera breaking the windows?
No, the one that spread his feces and urine all through the Capitol. Those who destroyed the inside
feces and urine all through the Capitol?
Yes. Yes.
And that was Trump supporters you're claiming?
Well, yes. Those are
do you know this for a fact, or are you just repeating? Do you know this for a fact, or are you just making it up now?
They was hollering, attack.
This is the first I'm hearing about feces and urine all through the Capitol building.
You didn't want to report that. You didn't want to.
No, this is the first time hearing about it, and you don't know who did that.
Research it.
No, I don't. I'm not interested.
Why not?
Because I don't believe what you're saying.
Because you don't want to report that.
No, Trump supporters. A true Trump supporter would not spread feces and urine into the Capitol.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Or if it were so, I would.
Research it. All you got to do is research it.
Name the person. Name the person who did it.
I don't
see. You don't know. You don't know who did it.
I got the picture. Want me to see you the pictures on the Capitol?
Not interested. Not interested.
Okay, I thought so.
Yeah, because you don't know.
I thought so.
First of all, Tony, I'm putting him on hold. If there were feces and urine in the Capitol, because that's more of an Antifa thing. They do that type of stuff. They're filthy people. Black Lives Matter is a type. Liberals are the type to do that type of stuff. But if there were, we don't know who did it or why they did it, but Tony's just saying this. And he falsely called it an attack on the Capitol by Trump supporters. There were Trump supporters who came into the Capitol building. Many of them were not attackers. Some of them may have attacked cops, right? There was a Hispanic guy who might have attacked a cop. Isn't that peace and quiet kind of nice? So, Tony.
Yes, sir.
Every time you call in, you lie.
Well, that's not a lie. That's what you want people to believe, but that's not a lie.
You're lying. You called it an attack. You called it an attack on the Capitol by Trump supporters. You don't know that.
It wasn't an attack on the Capitol. 140 officers got injured that day.
That doesn't tell me anything. You're just saying they got injured.
That don't tell you nothing. Injured.
Yeah, you're just telling me that they got injured. You didn't tell me. Hold on, man. You didn't tell me. Shut up, man. Sorry, kids. Some people say, you should stop saying shut up. Sorry, parents. Or pardon me, maybe I'm not sorry. You're not telling who attacked them, what was the circumstances, who started the fight. You're not telling anything. You're a mess.
Trump started it. So
Tony, Trump did not start it. You just keep on, go jumping from one lie to the next.
Okay. What day, didn't he have a rally down there? Didn't he have a rally on the
Yes, that doesn't mean that he started it.
That was brought the attack to this Capitol.
Not true.
He brought the attack to the
Not
Capitol.
true.
Come on, man. See, that's what I'm saying.
That's free speech.
Common sense, man.
That's free speech. You don't have common sense.
Yeah, go down to the Capitol and don't hold back. That's free speech. That's what he said.
Tony, you're acting silly now.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You're acting silly.
I'm quoting what he said. That's acting silly. really.
It's
Keep it real,
that's
man.
not.
Keep
You're
it
not
real.
keeping it
Y'all
real.
white folks went crazy on the Capitol. Now you just trying to put a dress on it.
A few of them acted out. A few of them might have acted out. There was a Black Lives Matter agitator who was there too, acting out. He was calling to burn the Capitol building down.
Well, was he? I used to
Oh,
see
yeah.
that report. What that report
All
was?
of a sudden you're ignorant about what the black man did.
One black man out of 7,000? Come on, man.
No, you're ignorant about this was a major story and you're ignorant about it?
Out of 7,000 white folks in the Capitol.
You're ignorant about it?
Come on, man. Come on, man.
You come on, man.
Keep it 100, man.
You're not keeping it 100.
One act. You
keep it 100. Tony trying to talk black.
Out there. Come on, man.
Are you a Fed?
Jesus Christ. Excuse me?
Are you a Fed?
No, I'm not. I'm a human
Then
being.
how come you're a puppet? How come you're a puppet for propaganda?
I wish you stopped trying to label me.
How come you're a
human
puppet?
being.
Why are you a puppet for propaganda?
Propaganda? Who on YouTube every day doing nothing but propaganda?
Nice dodge. Why are you a puppet for propaganda?
I'm going to send you a T-shirt.
All right, bye. Rick in Maine. How are you doing, Rick?
Well, right about now, my blood is boiling at a mid-range bonfire.
I know. What a mess.
Tony, you are dishonorable. You have no courage, sir.
Yeah.
None. You have to sit back and lie and twist the truth every time you open your mouth.
Yep.
If you had any courage, sir, you would get your stuff straight, and when somebody asks you where your information is coming from, you turn tail and say, you look it up. Well, Big Mouth, you look it up and then get on this show and prove it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, sit back, strap in, sit down and shut up.
Ease up, man. Ease up. You don't want to get too riled up, man. Like you said, your blood pressure and stuff.
It just boils my blood to the bone when people have the dishonor
Yeah.
to come in here and dishonor your show, number one. Number two, completely have no courage whatsoever in their body to grab the bull by the horns and straighten their own ethnicity out. They have that power.
Tony doesn't care about what's right.
They disregard everything. They completely disregard everything. They get on and they make a big scene about this, that, and the other. They have no facts to back it up.
I know. But
And
they have
that's
they
the
have
thing
the
that
whole
irritates me.
they have the whole dishonest media on their side and the whole dishonest establishment, including Ted Cruz, on their side, supporting the lies.
Remember what I said yesterday?
Go
Follow
home.
your lemmings. Follow your demon.
Yeah.
Follow your demon, Tony.
Hey, I have a word of advice for you from Asmodor in the super chats. He said if you'd like to hear about it.
Yes.
He says, calm down, Rick. You're letting Tony control your feminine side. Don't be so emotional that you let a lying moron like Tony get to you like this.
I know, but it's not just Tony, James.
I know it's not just Tony,
Not just
but
Tony.
you should not let these people get to you like that.
Yeah. Well, if they can't show respect, not only for the show, but for this country, then it's just like I mentioned yesterday. If you don't like my country, pack your bags and leave.
I know, but that's too
We
logical.
don't need people like you here.
But that's what evil is. Evil is here.
Right.
And we just deal with it.
Well, 6 generations of my family fought and died. Some died. I just lost my father back in October, as I've mentioned to you before.
Yep.
And right now, what I'm seeing is people showing absolutely no respect for people that have put themselves into that situation and completely trod all over the flag in this country.
Yep.
I'll say it again. if you don't like my country, pack your crap and get out. If you don't like the way that this country is run, find another place to live that suits you.
Well, man.
Because all they're showing is complete dishonor and no courage to change anything. Nothing.
I know. But that's too logical. You can't expect evil to be logical. That's evil's job is to needle you until you kill yourself with that anger, man.
Well, that's not going to happen. I'll guarantee you, not this boy. But
I know, but with that anger, it will kill you, man.
Yeah.
So I'm not talking about suicide. I'm talking about just the self-destruction of that out of control emotion.
I understand you, but Asmodor, thank you. I appreciate that.
Nice.
And William, if you're listening, I really was surprised about his comment. I respect that man. I love to hear him talk. I love to hear what he has to say. And William's a good man. He's an example that the rest of these blacks ought to follow.
All right.
He has more courage and honor in his body than 100 of these yo-yos that call in have. You know, it just...
Well, man, we all got to. We all have to check ourselves. William, you, me. We all have to check ourselves because otherwise, we're not going to be effective in fighting against evil.
Right.
Yeah. Thanks, man. And Asmodor says you're welcome, Rick.
No problem, man. You guys take care. Have a good one. I'll talk with you later.
Appreciate it, man.
I'll try to keep it cool next time.
No problem. It's no skin off my back. I'm just sharing some good advice from the people. Take care, man.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Before I get to calls, a few super chats, guys. Your girlfriend says, could you remind Destiny to bathe when you see him at the debate tonight? With a super chat over there on Odyssey, ODYSEE.com/@the Hake Report. Asmodor with a super chat, Tony flings poo. You know, like a monkey does. Limit one Tony per show, please, says your girlfriend. That's a reference to the fact that I got to Tony from New Jersey, and then to add insult to injury, Tony from California. I know. Asmodor says the feces and urine at the Capitol were when senators lost control of their bladders and bowels because they were afraid of the QAnon shaman. Brandon M. says, one black man out of several hundred white people raises the crime rate substantially. True. Very true. Let me just double check the super chats on the Streamlabs. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Bad Bibby, Willie Pal, Jib Jab. Sorry for doing you like that, man. Peter from Periscope, Venti Soy Latte, someone. And the rest. Quickly, before I get to Rick, I want to get to, I promised to get to Greg Abbott in Georgia, Florida. This is a little reminder. Ted Cruz is not the only rhino from Texas. There's so many rhinos from Texas, and there's worse ones than Ted Cruz. That mixed black guy, he was an anti-Trump guy. There was this mixed black guy who was an anti-Trump guy. He was in Congress. I'm blanking on his name. But he was like the only black Republican in Congress, I want to say. Republican, Congress, anti-Trump, Texas. Let's see if it comes up. William Ballard Hurd, H-U-R-D, born in 1977. American politician and former CIA clandestine officer who served as a U.S. representative for Texas's 23rd Congressional District. He was around San Antonio, El Paso area. And this guy is like a light-skinned black, right? Meaning he's mixed. Like he's part white, but hates Trump and hates white people and hates blacks, honestly. He's a rhino. He was a CIA from 2000 to 2009, meaning he was a Fed. Who knows? Who knows? He speaks some foreign languages, right? But he was an anti-Trump guy. He called Trump racist. He basically quit because of Trump, right? All you had to say was former CIA, says Commander Kim. But anyway, here's one more rhino out of Texas, whom I call a rhino. I'm coming out and saying it. June 2020, CNN, Greg Abbott, Texas governor, says George Floyd is, quote, gonna change the arc of the future of the United States. Listen to this melodrama. Phony politician talk. If you're gonna be there's a time, I guess, maybe, to be a phony politician, but don't fall all over yourself just lying and smearing an innocent cop, mostly innocent cop, right? Well, as far as this point, he was innocent. These are some horrific quotes. This is the most horrific tragedy I've ever personally observed, said Abbott, a Republican. George Floyd, that's Georgia, Florida, the guy out of Minneapolis who was, a felon, drug dealer, trying to pass a fake 20 multiple times, high out of his mind, having a serious medical emergency, resisting arrest, acting erratic, acting all pathetic and scared. Don't kill me, cops, don't shoot me. Just out of his mind, dying. George Floyd is going to change, but the knee on the neck, allegedly, knee on the shoulder blade, by Derek Chauvin, this guy's piling on to Derek Chauvin, an innocent man. George Floyd is going to change the arc of the future of the United States. George Floyd has not died in vain. His life will be a living legacy. Stupid. It's a dead legacy. About the way that America and Texas respond to this tragedy. Abbott said he is committed to, that was Greg Abbott, the Republican Texas governor, wheelchair-bound. He said he is committed to working with Floyd's family to ensure we never have anything like this ever occur in the state of Texas. What? This guy sat on him. He sat on him. He sat up on his knees on him, along with a couple of other cops. Floyd asked to be put on the ground, and this guy's overreacting to what he saw. We're already working with legislators. We're working with his family. His family asked me, and I promised his family, that I would use and incorporate their family in these discussions. The discussions about the pathway forward will not be taken over by politicians. Yeah, right. He has already done it. But will be led by family members, that will be led by victims, as if they're so smart about what to do. Stupid. Wise. They're not wise. That will be led by people who have suffered because of racism. No evidence that this had anything to do with any malice towards blacks. Stupid. Racism for far too long in this state and in this country. Made me cuss when I first read it. He also hinted there could be a George Floyd Act aimed to prevent police brutality. That was not brutality. It was not even really excessive force in the future in the state, and call for police reform. How about black brutality? Black brutality. That's what blacks are suffering from, not police brutality. And everybody's suffering from that, many of them. Evil coward rhino, huh? This guy does not love blacks. He does not love whites. He does not love Texas. He does not love America. And I mentioned he's wheelchair bound. He was out jogging, I think, on a break while in school or something, and a tree fell on him. Just freak accident. And I think he sued and maybe even to this day gets money from that crazy incident. Freak accident. Texas Governor Greg Abbott. I don't envy that. I don't envy him for that situation. I don't envy him at all. But he's an evil person. I remember when he trashed Gab for being so-called anti-Semitic, alongside a couple of, anti-Semitism witch-hunting Jewish politicians. Are they even Republicans? They might have been. Might have been Democrats. Rhinos, huh? If they were. But December 21st, a couple weeks ago, in October, Texas's parole board had sent Abbott a unanimous recommendation, and a lot of you guys are moving to Texas, to pardon George Floyd for a 2004 conviction of drug dealing. He sold supposedly $10 worth of crack, per the extreme left AP, if you believe them. Floyd, whose quote-unquote murder, with an asterisk, by a former Minneapolis police officer back over in 2020, over Labor Day weekend, sparked a global anti-racism protest, meaning anti-white, anti-justice protests over the weekend. Riots. Over the last year, whatever. The black officer who arrested him, Gerald Goins, back in 2004, is facing 2 quote-unquote murder charges over like a botched drug raid, right? Quote-unquote murder. Cops being charged with murder over a botched drug raid. Like, I believe that. Maybe. It happens, I'm sure, but he's been accused of lying to justify warrants over a 2019 drug raid. So 15 years later, and they're wanting to go back and look at George Floyd and say, oh, he should be declared innocent. They want to give him a posthumous pardon. It's crazy. Allison Mathis is a Houston public defender who applied for a posthumous pardon for Georgia, Florida. He said the recommendation withdrawal, they withdrew the unanimous recommendation because they had procedural errors. They were just doing politics, basically, is what I read into it. Greg Abbott and his political appointees have let their politics triumph over the right thing to do and what is clearly justice. I did not expect this kind of misconduct, says this woman or male, Allison, some males are called Allison, right? Mathis, Houston public defender, perhaps black, trying to get Georgia, Florida off posthumously. So dumb. Pardon a dead dude. How about pardon somebody who's alive? You know, like in Minnesota, pardon Derek Chauvin. Pardon the Gregory McMichael, age 66, his son Travis McMichael, age 35, and their neighbor William Roddy Bryan Jr., age 52, who were found guilty in a kangaroo court in a witch hunt against white people for this imaginary racism thing, for their botched citizens arrest and self-defense killing of blah, 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 blah. Pardon those people who actually have lives to live. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my little rant. Let me get to Rick in Rick in Hampton, Virginia. Rick, how are you doing?
Man, how you doing, my brother? Hope all is well with you, man.
Doing well. Thank you, man.
Man, Jay, I got to tell you, bro, man. Happy New Year to you guys, man. I'm glad you're back on.
I appreciate it.
Man, I was so sick of watching mainstream drive-by media to simply over-exaggerate January 6th, man.
Yeah.
I was Nancy Pelosi. As a matter of fact, Commander Uganda Nightmare talking about this was worse than World War II and 9/11. That ain't even close. You know what I mean? Just like over-exaggerating it, you know. And why is President Biden mentioning even President Trump's name? He's gone.
Yeah, I know. It's an endless attack on the true American people. The people who actually love America. It's ridiculous.
And Nancy Pelosi, and you know she's over there exaggerating. Like all of them, even it was found that AOC wasn't telling the truth about where she was at. Thought it was right on her. Oh, God.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, James. Let's say like if it was going to be worse. Let's say like
oh gosh,
the Republicans won, they won president, the Democrats did that. Do you think they'd be doing the same thing like the Democrats are doing?
Of course not. They should, but they won't because they're kiss-ups and cowards and want to get along with evil. It's a shame. It's a shame. Man, I gotta go, Rick. It's been nice. It's nice to hear from you, though.
It's 2 o'clock. Okay, James. Well, love y'all, man. Have a good weekend, man. I'm trying to tune into the church service Sunday, y'all.
Okay. Take care.
Talk to y'all later.
All right. Bye. Quickly, in 30 seconds, Maze, my favorite caller in Dayton, Ohio. People were just asking about you, Maze. Happy New Year to you.
That's what I called to tell you. It's not a pagan day. It's a new year. And
nice.
Also, Rick with his himself, he need to go sit down with all the ignorant. And Nancy was in the White House, in the Capitol, but she was not attacking anything. And it was nice to see Dick Cheney. And then Ted Cruz turn around and change his mind what he had to say the day before.
Good.
And Carl Rowe. Now we really going to see some action because Dick Cheney came out to protect his daughter.
Oh,
and y'all
gosh.
going to get somewhere and sit down. All of those that was up under him, we're going to see some real action happening, what we see when Dick came out yesterday.
Oh,
and
gosh.
then with Capitol,
terrible.
I want you to explain to me, what was the purpose of Mike Pence in that place that day with the plan that they had? Why did they have a plan?
What plan?
The plan that they had to overthrow the government.
Oh, gosh.
That was the plan and it didn't work.
No, they already overthrew the government, and so the liberals are in charge.
If they would have.
I gotta go. Nice talking with you, Maze.
You can tell me Monday.
Okay,
I'll
sounds
do-
good. You hear your clock. Your clock means the show is over.
That's why the black man was in the Capitol, because people like Rick come on your show and talk like he does.
Whatever. All right, bye. Quick super chat from your girlfriend. So will Georgia, Florida be voting in the 2022 midterms? Fair question. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. This has been the Hake Report. The Fallen State coming up with Dylan Burns, and he will be hosting the Hippy Dippy with Hake later. And catch Nick's first day. Nick the Anchor Baby's new show. The Anchor Baby's new show on YouTube at 5 Pacific time today. Take care, guys.